You know, I have the strangest feeling that I've seen that ship before. A long time ago, when I was very young.
Red 5, I'm going in.
Somewhere in space.
The air sharpens crisp with smoke and leaves. Porches glow with crooked grins, and shadows stretch longer than they should. A chorus of whispers drifts through the streets. Laughter, footsteps, and the rustle of costumes. Somewhere, a plastic skeleton rattles in the wind, but in memory, it is more than just mere plastic. It is magic, alive for one night only, with the audience of a million. Halloween was never just a date, it was a feeling. A world made strange, where the ordinary turned beautiful and terrifying. And for a moment, we all believed. Halloween wasn't just a holiday, it was an atmosphere. If you grew up in the early 2000s, you know exactly what I mean. The air felt different, colder, sharper. The streets glowed with orange and purple lights. Every porch had a carved pumpkin, and some houses went all out, turning their garages into mini haunted houses. I mean, it wasn't perfect. Costumes were cheap, masks got sweaty, and candy definitely ran out a little bit early. But it had a lot of soul. I feel somewhere along the way, something changed. Halloween grew, maybe. It got bigger, louder, flashier. But in that growth, did we lose something? Did we lose the art of Halloween? Halloween in the early 2000s was simple, but it was magical. We'd had Goosebumps marathons, Halloween Town reruns, and Cartoon Network dropping Scary Godmother like it was the second coming. Even Tim Burton was still shaping the mood with his films like Sleepy Hollow and Corpse Bride. The decorations weren't Hollywood level either. They were store-bought tombstones, paper bats taped to windows, or fog machines that overheated and got the fire department called to your house in like 30 minutes. But they all felt so alive, because they were put together by people who cared. Trick-or-treating wasn't just kids in costumes, and it was an event for the entire neighborhood. Porches lit up, families sat outside houses with bowls of candy, and you could hear the crunch of leaves under a dozen little feet. For one night, the world became smaller and stranger, like you were living inside a Halloween special yourself. Then came the rise of the Halloween industry. Spirit of Halloween became less of a seasonal curiosity and more of a yearly empire. The animatronics got bigger, inflatables took over lawns, and costumes, you didn't piece them together with thrift store scraps anymore. You just clicked and buy on Amazon. On one hand, it was fun, everything was more polished, you could get, movie accurate masks or 10-foot skeletons, but at the same time, it got harder to tell Halloween apart from business. It became less about imagination and more about consumption. Neighborhood haunted garages started competing with theme parks and professional attractions, which meant expectations changed. Suddenly, the homemade didn't look scary anymore. It looked cheap compared to Universal's Halloween Horror Nights. And then later on, social media influence took over. It arrived, and it completely rewired how Halloween looks and feels. On TikTok, there's a new Halloween trend like every week. Cottagecore witches, Summerween in July, color-coordinated displays, project-mapped houses. The holidays splintered into aesthetics instead of one shared vibe. Halloween now exists in dozens of micro-trends, and while that's cool in its own way, it also means that we lost some of the messy, magical weirdness that used to, tie it all together. Here's the thing, though. The early 2000s version of Halloween inspired people. It made kids want to carve pumpkins, shoot short horror films with camcorders, design costumes, or even grow up to become filmmakers, cosplays, and FX artists themselves. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it planted seeds. You see it in today's creators who look back and say, that haunted house down the street made me fall in love with horror. Now, Halloween still inspires, but in a much different way. It pushes people toward content creation, viral videos, or consumer aesthetics. The creativity is still there, but it feels more commercial, less communal. So what happened to the art of Halloween? It didn't truly die, and at this point I'm pretty sure it never will. It just got buried under plastic props, fast-moving trends, and billion-dollar sales. But like any good ghost story, All it takes is remembering what made it special to bring it back. The art of Halloween was never about how much money you spent. It was about atmosphere. It was about neighbors putting effort into scaring each other, kids losing themselves in another world for a night, and the feeling something ancient and mysterious was waking up just for October 31st. I know we can't go back to the early 2000s. We never can. But we can take the lesson from it. The art of Halloween isn't in the store aisles or on TikTok. It's in the people who make it. And maybe that's where we should look for it. Because the early 2000s taught us anything, it's that the real magic of Halloween doesn't come from what you buy. It truly comes from what you create. However, that is just some dude rambling online. You may disagree with me, but this is all I have. I'll leave the rest of it to you. And remember,
Somewhere in space.